Posted and pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Council of Nassau Bay, Texas will conduct a regular meeting on November 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the council chambers here at City Hall, 1800 Space Park Drive, Suite 200, Nassau Bay, Texas. I've called to order. I believe we have everybody but Paula.
She just walked in.
Did she just walk in?
She'll be in here in a minute.
She'll be in here in a minute. So, okay, then, don't have Paula yet, but is imminent, according to our men in blue. Then, I'd like to, maybe just wait if she's gonna be here. Let's, oh no. Let's go ahead with the invocation. So, Mike, it's your. Is he here? He said he was gonna be here.
Do you know it's at 6 o'clock?
I did, but I may do this. Let me do this. I'm gonna do dispense with the invocation until 7 o'clock when we start our main meeting, and let's just go into the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming in. We have a couple of things early, but we have one thing in particular, and I want to say some words beforehand. You know, we received a resignation from Michelle Weller, and she has done quite a bit. And I really believe in tradition, where we actually allow the citizens of our good city to wish a farewell for somebody who has served our city and served our city well. And I had a few things. I made mention of some of her accomplishments, but I want to say them again just for the record, and let the record reflect that Paula Tomasi is now present for a full roll call.
One meeting to another meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
You know, I know she's done a lot of things, but there's four things in particular where I would actually say, you know, she led, and you know, we've done a lot on this council, but you know, when I look at our parks and recreation, not one of our parks has not been touched. We have had a major renovation, at least one in every single park of this city, and they just look fabulous. You know, just some key things: 3 new playground sets, a new ball field, and I was out there before the rain, and people were out there playing. The little leagues have found out about our ball field. Just fresh paint around the whole parks everywhere. You know, and cleaning up benches, cleaning up the jogging track around Howard Ward. You know, that I mentioned to some that one of the first things I did, and I don't know if Angela Braun's here, but David Braun and I, back in 1995, first got on, like, I think, the Parks and Recreation Committee, and one of the first things we did was change that jogging track from a just bark, where every time we had a big rainstorm, it would just end up in the creek or in the bay, to what we have now. And it had gone on for a while without being updated. So by the parks pushing it, with the help of Paul Lopez, that's really honors a man who has done a lot too. So that's you honor our past as well as you honor and get things going to the future. We've got the new gazebo. I mean, you look down at Founders Park, you look at the sundial and the reflection gardens. And something I'm really proud about is the elevation of ADA access for our parks. We now have playground equipment that has ADA. We have the benchmark and the specification set for the width and what painting should be done for roads, so we can have golf carts. I think it was a real surprise to a lot of people how many grandparents could not bring their kids into the parks because there was no golf cart access going in, and that was all the Parks and Recreation. The other is beautification. Just I don't think anybody can walk around our city and not see color again. I've thrown some of these stats out before, but we've removed over 5,000 dead plants, 5,000. And it was prettier just because of an absence of dead, but because of the fall sweep with, the Parks and Recreation group, the students Keep Nassau Bay Beautiful, Garden Club, they all kind of coordinated, and we planted over 4,200 plants, and you can see the color. It's really fantastic. And we have 26 palm trees, the Majules palm trees up, with 20 more coming. So we'll have planted, hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have almost 50 the big Majule palms up. And I like that because I saw what Webster did, and those were only Mexican fan palms. Those aren't the Majules.
You gotta be Webster.
Not like we're competitive or anything like that. But even things where you just did took on your own to renovate the Unicorn in front of the Queen's Court, painted street curbs, just power washing, it's again, we've done an uplift in regards to the beautification. The other is code enforcement. Is when you look at it, I think one of the biggest things when I was knocking on doors that people just felt that we needed to tighten our belt in regards to what we allow, and to also crack down on some of the things like just like speeding or whatever, and just make sure we keep doing that. And we now have a full-time code enforcement official, which had been attempted for quite a while. Which we now have, which is really something. And that has, you've seen it. And the one I really like is my barometer, because we all said there was nothing that we could do about it, is the property at 1910 Nassau Road 1, right there at the corner of Nassau Road 1 and Upper Bay, has had a huge number of vehicles taken out of it. They realized the writing on the wall, and they are looking at now selling that business rather than bringing it up to code. So the Arafat property is going to change, and that's one of the major intersections for what I consider is the entrance to Nassau Bay. So that's there. And the last thing is just the attention to being the small town Nassau Bay that we are. I think the attention and the wherewithal to kill the UDC, which we now find was ahead of its time. We see that Austin is trying to be prescriptive in densification and things along that line that would allow people to put like third structures, which in our UDC code would have been allowed. And by keeping that there, it means we keep our character of our city. I can even go into things like reuniting with our space heritage. I mean, if you look at the moon trees, and I hear from a little bird that it looks like in March we're going to have another moon tree. So we're beginning the walk of the astronauts there. So that's really, really cool. And then even things like the smoke shop and or what I call smokies, which would have really put a pall on that business district. But you were one of the first. You really had a pulse on what was going on. So you brought it to the attention of the powers to be, and we were able to again, exercise powers that the UDC would have taken away called a specific use permit, and that was denied. And I think everybody here is really pleased that that was done. And then last but not least, just fun things that make this a great hometown, which is we had the Astros celebration. You know, just something here with obviously with Laura Ford and with Nancy.
Okay.
It was just really well done that everybody had participated in that. And I do mean everybody that participated, and the whole Parks and Rec, I think the whole town. And I got a communication from the Astros organization that just absolutely said we had one of the nicest, events that they had seen, that it was that much fun. So with that, I don't know if other people would like to have some comments, or we can wait. But the council wants to give you something in recognition of your service, and I have it right here and would like to give it to you. I know you like Tiffany's boxes, but we can't afford Tiffany here.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
And
wow.
let me describe it before we do things, and
That's
so that people can understand. There are 3 pieces to this necklace. The first is a pearl, just a single pearl. And we wanted to do that in recognition that whether you were painting curbs or whether you were in the dirt planting flowers or digging out flowers or whatever, no matter what you did, you have Barbara Bush has got nothing on you. You always wore your white set of pearls. So that was in recognition of that. The other is a compass rose. And so wherever you are, you'll be able to have the compass rose to be able to find your way back to Nassau Bay. And then the last is the St. Christopher. So for everywhere you go, you'll be safe.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
So this is from the council. Why don't you say something?
Oh, gosh. Well, I want to say, I've had hundreds of people reaching out to me this week. My phone was blowing up for people that couldn't make it. And then all of you that emailed me and came, I was very moved. And I felt like maybe I should have left. It was a lot of tears, and that's okay. I'm going to stay on the Parks and Recreation and the Landscaping Committee because we got so much done that we had set out to do, and I got made an offer I couldn't refuse. So it's a great life for me, and I still continue to work with all the people. I'm going to be working on the.
We have a police force. We can rub them out if you want.
But I'm also going to work to volunteer on the holiday in the park and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be around, still getting those things done. That was like my biggest part of the passion, and the rest of it, I know that we're in good hands. When I'm really sorry about Nathan. I'm destroyed, okay? If I had known that, I also wouldn't have resigned, but right away. But anyway, I know that we're in good hands here, and I feel like, especially with this mayor, I couldn't have done it without him. I started out, brought the committee behind, got it rolling, but he carried it through. And so thank you everyone for coming here, calling me, saying things. I really appreciate it, and I'll be around to still stay here and keep Nassau Bay, the city we all love.
So now what we have is what I guess I'm known for is I like to have what I call juice and cookies, right? So we have some juice and cookies, but I believe it's actually some desserts as well as some other nice things that we have. So please have a bite, recreate, say thank you to Michelle, and then we will reconvene at 7 o'clock for our invocation and our regularly scheduled venue. So, all righty.
That was beautiful. Oh my God. You see that? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Molly. Come on, you guys have something, check it out.
All right, everyone, please place your blessings to our God. There we go, that's better. Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us tonight as we gather to conduct this meeting. Thank you for our city and our country, and especially thank you for all the veterans among us who we celebrated this past Saturday on Veterans Day that gave their time and their service to allow us to have this wonderful country and this ability here to have these open meetings. Please bless our city, its residents, and those that lead us. Open the hearts and minds of our leaders as they conduct our business tonight, and grant them the wisdom to make the good decisions and gather and guide our future. Please bless Councilwoman Weller as she leaves us tonight and guide her in all of her future endeavors. Bless and protect all of our first responders so that they may safely serve our community and return home to their families at the end of every shift. We humbly ask this in your name.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. I saw her here. I've lost her now. Jill, there you are. There we are. So. Yeah, this is a fun one. So I talk loud enough. I don't need I need no microphone.
You don't need that.
But, no, here, this is in recognition of the things that you do for the community. There's a number of people who have not only supported, but also, I think, gone to and been part of the ballet. So from that standpoint, we are very pleased to be able to provide the financial support that I think we do every year. And here it is. And if you would like to give people more of a background and stuff. Oops, here we go like this. There you go.
Thank you. We are so thankful for Nassau Bay. We just love the support that you've given us and always given us. We're in our 48th season. This it's to be an entity in this community for this long. I think it speaks volumes. It does, and we're just really excited. This is to support our 48th season, and we just finished Cinderella, and we loved coming. We came to St. Thomas. And the pumpkin patch, we brought Cinderella and the fairy godmother, and it was so much fun with all the littles that came out that day. We love the nutcrackers around the corner. Yeah, we've grown. We have really grown to 18 performances. We do 3 entire weekends of it. 6 of those are dedicated to Title I schools. We bring kids in that would never have the experience to get to see a full stage production. So we love doing that. And we would love to come on out and see us. Like I said, we have a cast of over 205 people this year. Yeah. We take community people in from the ages 4 to, we have a 93-year-old.
Oh, wow.
That is playing a part. And so we love that. We love bringing people in and to accentuate our professional dancers. So it's exciting.
It's great what you do.
Oh, you're so
thanks.
sweet. Thank you. We love your support.
All right.
Honestly, I really appreciate
Thank
it. Thank you so much.
I have one more check. And I don't know if it's going to be Bill Roach or Natasha and maybe Bill. Bill, see you. Oh, my hat this. And this is for Wings Over Houston. Another one that everybody loves. See, I didn't even need to say anything in that clap. So-
Yeah.
Here. Go ahead.
Thank you.
What did you tell them? Just dates, times, anything here coming up?
Yeah, well, we appreciate the report from Nassau Bay and all the other communities in this general area. We just had our 39th air show this year. Next year's gonna be our 40th. So, Blue Angels.
Oh, great.
So that always puts more heads in beds. We had people from about 16 different nations come this last year, and 42 of the 50 states came
Nice.
in for this show. So that's pretty cool, bringing a lot of
Everybody
people in.
loves it. I mean, if there's one thing, there's this and Heels and Wheels that people really love to see.
Yep.
Thank you.
We appreciate your continued support.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next is our citizens comment section and public hearing, but I don't believe we have a scheduled public hearing. Not this time, but it's a citizens comments. Anybody who would like to speak? Now is the time. Diana?
Diana Clark, 1415 Antigua Lane. It's the time of the year, Toys for Tots, and it's rapidly approaching. And as usual, Massa Bay has supported us. I know we're going to have more support this year when it gets sorted out. We really appreciate it because right now we're struggling. We have a new sergeant who's going to be here tonight, but she's ill. She just came in from Japan, so she's been in a tither trying to get everything ready. So I'm just asking if you could write a personal check to USMC, Toys for Tots, or contribute toys. We have boxes in all our businesses in Nassau Bay, which I might add, last year, we had over 1,200 toys just from this area. And it came at the best time because they were really short on toys. We needed them for like 9 and 10, 11-year-olds. Those are the ones that kind of in that in-between stage, it's hard to get the right things for them. And also 17 and 18, we have a lot of those. So anything y'all can do, we so appreciate it. And we'll be at the Holiday at the Park, so be sure and stop by and say hi. Thank you.
Woo. Anybody else?
Good evening, my name is 14 Antigua Lane. Hello neighbors. Saturday, we honored our veterans on Veterans Day. I also would like to honor all veterans today as well. I take very seriously the freedoms that our country provides and the men and women that stand up for those freedoms. My father's a Korean War veteran. I'm an Army veteran. My daughter and son-in-law are both Air Force veterans. My son-in-law is currently a Navy SEAL, and my son at this very minute is 300 miles from an active war zone. So, makes me very nervous. It's easy to thank a soldier for their service on Veterans Day and other days like that, but you have a responsibility as well as citizens to protect those rights that they fight for. Do not vote away your rights easily. I'd like to directly speak to the citizens of Nassau Bay here and those that are at home watching. Our Community Homeowners Association vote to take away some of our rights. Think carefully before you vote away your personal rights, and even more carefully before you vote away the rights of somebody else. Short-term rental issues should be handled with permitting and citations and removing permits from repeat offenders. Only recently have these been enforced. Without actually giving permitting and citations a chance, will we know that can work? Our homeowners association is pushing for an outright ban without even letting this work, and asking to triple our homeowners association fees to create a legal fund for the enforcement of those new codes. I love my home here in Nassau Bay. It is my home. My daughter lives in Virginia, where her husband is stationed as a Navy SEAL. She has 2 babies under 2 years old. Her husband, as a Navy SEAL, is gone a lot right now. And those kids are there, and I are able to go to her and help while he's on his training and deployments. As such, when we go visit her, we short-term rent our home to other families. In a little over a year, I have paid the city of Nassau Bay over $4,400 in hotel occupancy tax. You're welcome. I have not received a single complaint from a single neighbor. That's an extra $4,400 for Nassau Bay from just one short-term rental without a single complaint. And I had it off platform for 6 months. Imagine the income Nassau Bay could receive from short-term rentals that are properly paying hotel occupancy taxes improperly permitted. I understand there are some bad short-term rentals and bad situations, but those can and should be handled on an individual basis, not with a sledgehammer and not by banning it outright for everyone. The vote is open until February 2024. I respectfully ask that you vote no on the short-term rental ban. If you've already voted, please reach out to the homeowners association and ask that you want to change your vote. It's a recorded vote and you can change it. Freedom is a fragile gift. Think twice before you vote away your rights or your neighbor's rights. Thank you.
I'm going to take a little liberty here because Mary, I know you've been very outspoken on this, I really wish everybody paid the attention to their short-term rental that you do. Our focus has been on the illegal ones, and they're the ones that have caused problems, and people who are owner-operated and like yourself has done a real service to the city, so I appreciate the attention that you do. So, okay. Anybody else who would like to speak? Boris?
Yeah, I'll just say one thing.
When you say thing, the number of words.
Boris Berezin, 1815 Devon Lane. I'm a direct neighbor of Mary. I know the family. I have an honor to know the entire family because my middle son is also in the same kind of activities as Mary's. So we have something very in common and very worrisome. Other than that, not one instance of me being unhappy about the people that come to be as weekend or a month guests in Mary's home. What they did to their yard, what they did in terms of making sure that the rules are there visible and people play by the rules is not just appreciated, it's most of all admirable, because this is how the people do things right. That's about my neighbor Mary. About my other neighbor, Michelle, I want to say from a citizen's point that I appreciate not just your energy, not just your spunk, not just your enthusiasm. I really appreciate the vision, because for the longest time, this little town didn't have the kind of let's just say a little bit over the top vision, but you do. And I think you brought a lot of emotion into community with your way of acting on behalf of the city, and everything you did was for the city's benefit. Your vision, your ability to envision the city, and everything we talked about from a community center, because this is just such a small amount of people, but we have to have a center. We have to have a place where elderly people get together, younger people get together, clubs start, chess games, you name it. It's not enough to have a little library by the house and people just pick up the books, and visibly renovating the city. And Michelle, with your vision, I hope that your generation will have more followers in that stead. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Gary?
Terry Mossman, 1867 Point Lookout Drive. I'm going to try to be like Boris and only make one comment, but it probably is not possible for me either. I came to praise Michelle. I did not know Michelle Weller until we embarked upon a very strategic and fascinating project, the Moon Tree Project. And Phil has already elaborated on all the wonderful things done by the Parks Department, and they were a very active part of this as well. But I never saw anybody with the drive and the intellect and the perseverance that this woman had that brought to the Moon Tree Project. And
As you may recall, this is the largest event that was ever held at this city hall, was when we had the first day of the Moon Tree celebration. And we had quite a lineup of speakers with the father of the gentleman that's sitting up there on the podium, James, and Jimmy Spivey, who at that time was second in charge of flight operations for Artemis. And must have been a real good guy, because now he's got mission control and a bunch of other stuff in less than a year. He's been an active booster. We got to know Rosemary Russo, whose father Stu is the one that piloted that particular flight. And it was such an exciting project, because we had talked with the Parks Committee initially about reestablishing our roots and our heritage for the space program. And when I moved here, and Mike Barrett and several others, we had whole community splashdown parties. We had parties, block parties, we had everything. And it was a mixture of people who worked at the Space Center, people from petrochemical and other areas, but everybody blended together, and we had so much pride in what we were doing. And so we, in a small way, tried to start reestablishing that. The Parks Committee's taken a very active role in that, and they got a lot of active plans coming up. And I'm really looking forward to it, and there will be another Moon Tree or two coming up in the very near future. And the last thing I'll say, you saw the logo. We have an iconic logo for the Moon Trees. And Herbie Hest, along with Rosemary Russo. And we're the only city that has that kind of thing. Others could do it, but they also have the most moon trees in any city in Texas. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Katie Frazier, and I'm at 1423 Batten. And I too just wanted to thank Michelle. I'm embarrassed to admit that I never voted in a city election. I've lived here 13 years prior to Michelle Weller knocking on my door and saying, hi, I'm Michelle Weller, I'm running for council, and I want to do some code enforcement, and I know that you complained to the city. And I was like, girl, I have. And she was like, I just thought I'm interested to you in that, and this is the deal. And I was like, okay. And again, I just kind of thought, oh, that's for some other people who probably care about that stuff, and they're probably involved, and they probably read that stuff, and I, didn't really read up on it. And one thing about her style, like, she just kept inviting me to stuff and was like, keep coming to this, come to this. Now I'm on the Parks Committee, now I'm doing stuff, so she's making me do everything. And I'm like, that's just her style, is like, she just keeps inviting people, and she's made me do it too. So, and one thing about her style is, I know that I used to belong to a church that, I'm not exaggerating, they had a committee on committees. Like, it just took forever to get anything done. Like, everything was like, well, let's table that and talk about it later. And like, let's get a committee on that. And let's like get a discussion about that. Then I changed churches, and like from the pulpit, he would be like, so Sister Mary like had a death in the family. We're gonna need to raise some money. So I'm gonna need y'all to take care of that. $20 from every family. We're gonna collect that in the back. You gonna take care of that? Okay, thanks. Like, okay. It would just be like, we're doing it today. That's the way she rolls. Like, she's just gonna be like, it's not gonna be like, we're gonna talk about it later. She's like, so we're gonna take care of that. Can somebody take, Helen, we're gonna do that in the back. Can I count on you? Okay. Okay. Like all of a sudden everybody's doing it. So that's one thing about her that I feel like I've learned to be very proactive and to be like, okay, we're just gonna do it. I left out, I'm painting curves with Chase. I got my kids on it. So like I was like, okay, I better learn how to do it. I'm doing stuff with kids. So, I appreciate that.
And you did the Astros.
Oh yeah, and I did the Astro event, like my first week that I showed up to a Parks Committee, I became the co-chair of the Astros event. So they you show up, you're in. And that is a great way to be, and they make you feel welcome, and they, like I said, you're in and you're as much as you want to be. So I've had a great time, and I appreciate that about you. And like I said, I enjoy it, and I've gotten more active in the city, and I think it's a good thing. It's good for my kids, and I love this city, and that's one of the reasons that we came here, was for my kids. So, and our space roots, and I love those things about our city. I travel all over the country in my job, and people are constantly amazed at where I live. Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, that's so interesting. And we just kind of take it for granted. So I do like that portion of us. So thanks for your service, and thanks for making me serve. Thank you guys.
you.
Mike?
I promise not to make it as long as I did last time. Mike Barrett, 18706 Point Lookout Drive. I just want to say, thank you very much to council. I know it's a thankless job, trust me. And a particular thanks to Paula and Phil for this week and taking the time out of your bills to take care of our situation. But I also want to say thank you to Michelle. I got wrangled into being on the Parks and Recreation too, like Katie. I wasn't gonna blame you, Bill. All right. But it's been a good thing because Michelle has really led us into doing some really cool stuff around the city. As Gary had spoken about, the Moon Tree event was just phenomenal. It was over the top. Something like that. And then we've got all the Majul Date Palm out in front of the city. We had the Astros trophy show up. That was a huge turnout. On the Parks and Recreation Committee, we were able to get some new playground equipment down there at Swan Lagoon, and I know it was a hit because they passed out 230 scoops of ice cream. So you know it's a good thing. We've also got the baseball field down there in the park, and we're also working on down there by the pickleball field. We're getting some new concrete, some golf cart parking. My point being is, it's been a pleasure, and she's a driver, and with being a driver, there comes some criticism, but that's okay. There are people who are doers, and there are some people who aren't, and she definitely gets the job done. So I want to say it's certainly been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's all good, and I really, really, really appreciate council and you giving my family a voice over the last. Is greatly appreciated, and thank you for everybody and everything that you guys have done. So good luck in your next endeavor.
Anybody else?
I'm just glad I didn't have to go after Katie Frazier. That was a great one.
She's hard.
She's tough crowd. I'm Laura Ford at 1910 Back Bay Court, and I'm also on the Parks Committee because Michelle Weller inspired us to serve. I just wanted to thank you for all you've done. My city, or my family has been in this city for decades, and I have never seen so much progress as what we've seen in the last 2 years. I got involved years ago coming up here asking for better playgrounds, trying to improve the community, and you gave a voice to a lot of that. The playground we've got at Swan Lagoon is long overdue and something I know the community will enjoy. There's so much that you've inspired everyone to do. The city better, it's more beautiful. And what Gary said about bringing back our space heritage is something that for anyone who's been here for decades, we remember what it was like back then with the splashdown parties, and you created some of that. And I'm excited to see what else we continue doing. I know the Parks Committee has a lot that we hope to do with murals, continuing with the moon trees, the space heritage. So thank you, former Councilmember Weller, for all that you've done. And thank you, Council, for continuing to support us on the parks. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? 3 times. Citizens here or citizens comment section is complete. Next is the council member comments. Paula?
Well, I certainly could reiterate what was said about Michelle. I didn't serve with her very long on here. But one thing I do know is that when we saw how active the city was getting involved in improving our community, certainly I did, went home and looked at my own house and said, okay, where do I need flowers? Where do I need this? What have I done? How does mine motivated us to get a feeling for our city that was important and to take care of our property? The second thing I want to commend her for is my 3-year-old grandson had to be dragged away from Swan Lagoon Park when we had the opening. I think he had 2 of those scoops of ice cream, but he loves it. We're close by and we're going to love it. So thank you. Thank you to the Parks Committee and thank you for the initiative.
Lucy?
All right, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone who has served this country. Appreciate you over this Veterans Day. More about Veterans Day signs and Holiday in the Park to come in the Special Events Committee report. I do want to say thank you to Michelle for everything that you've done and will continue to do in this city. And finally, I want to wish happy birthday to Nathan.
Happy birthday, Nathan. 29, wow.
Eventually, I'm gonna say happy birthday to you at some point today.
Yeah.
I also want to say thanks to Michelle as well. I'm also on the Parks Committee because of Michelle. So a bunch of people are getting roped into it, but I absolutely love it. I'm painting the curb still, so we're working on that. But I also want to say thank you for acting like a mentor when I first got on council. I'm kind of getting acclimated to how this process works. So I do want to say thank you for that. So just so everybody knows, we've gotten a police report on a not a lighter note, but we've had a lot of porch thefts. So Christmas is coming, a lot of people are gonna be buying gifts and you're gonna have them on your porches. So just be mindful of where those get placed. Sometimes you can make a note as to where to put them, or at least make a designated place where you can kind of get those away from people taking those from your porch. But I just wanna make sure everybody's aware that is happening. We've got, several reports of that here. So I just wanna make sure that we all take care with the season coming up.
So a couple things I think are important, and Michelle said the last bit for you at the end. Mary, thank you. It takes a lot to get up and talk about service in this country. And for your family, what they do, thank you for what your family's done. And thank you to everybody who has served this country. And your points on the importance of the freedom that they fight for is very important to me. I'm second generation American. So we came over in 1920. And my grandfather fought for the Canadians in World War I, fought for the US in World War II. He was too old for the Korean War, unfortunately. But every one of my uncles served, which was pretty interesting to have five boys that went off and they all came back in World War II. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for actually having a fantastic short-term rental, because I'm down the street. And I can tell you, I have not seen anything that makes me worry. So thank you for what you've done with that. And I think that's very important. I think you're absolutely right. We have not had a chance to actually do the work in regards to collecting the data and presenting that back to the citizens. I think that's important. You bring up a very good point in regards to that. And hopefully Officer Henderson can give us some information tonight when he gets his report. And I appreciate what you've done. Boris, 1815 Davon Lane. I would like to ask everybody for a moment of silence. The reason being is that last week we lost Ken Mattingly. Ken Mattingly was the owner of 1815 Davon Lane. I grew up with his son, spent a lot of time down at the house as a little boy, and because they're right there by the park, they lost soccer with them too. So if y'all don't mind, just a moment of silence, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Public safety meeting, tentative for next Tuesday. Tentative because we may, I'm not sure, but I'll talk to the mayor about it. We may need to have a special meeting. I'm not sure if that will happen or not, but just tentative. If it's moved, I'll ensure this on the calendar so everybody can adjust their schedules to participate. That's at 5:30. Toys for Tots, please, please, please support Toys for Tots. It's fantastic. Last year we had a great showing for Holiday in the Park, and I think it was brimming with toys by the time that we were done with it, I think, right? I think we had tons of toys there, which was fantastic for that. Last week, I had the pleasure of going to the HDAC, Houston Galveston Association of Councils caucus. They elected 2 new directors and alternate directors at the caucus. One thing that I think everybody needs to be important or need to hear about is this. We were briefed about a situation where Houston changed an ordinance, which is they are requesting that they have a population proportional representation of HDAC, which means that the 37 directors that are there, that included home rules cities like us, small municipalities, might actually be outstripped by people in Houston. And that's something that we all talked about. We're looking at alternatives, what we can do to that, but that was what was passed in Houston last week with some of the elections. I think that's important that y'all need to know that. Lastly, Michelle, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you've done. But I'm so disappointed. Injuries, baseball. Where's the soccer pitch? You leave council and there's no soccer pitch. But I know it's coming. I know it'll be there. I have faith.
Don't worry, you got it.
But
We got
thank you for what you've done. Really appreciate that. I thank all the volunteers that come out to the city and actually show up to help. It's important that we all take time to give our service to the community which we live in, whether you're fighting for freedom or just making a place more beautiful for everybody. I think it's important that we actually recognize those volunteers, and maybe one day we'll do a volunteer day. And that,
Again,
yeah. So thank you.
Sarah?
Good evening, everyone. So, I always feel funny saying Happy Veterans Day because my father-in-law is a Vietnam veteran. So I said, I'm thinking about you on this Veterans Day because it's certainly something that comes with a lot of emotion for a lot of veterans. They remember people that they've lost and friends that they've lost. I know he does. Michelle, I actually have something to say. You do have high energy. We can say that about you. And I noticed that when I was on parks with you. And you do have a heart for beautification. And I know that you will continue to use that heart and do good things in the community through your parks position. Nothing else really to say. This should be a simple meeting tonight, I'm hoping.
Oh, so simple.
And Nathan, happy birthday. You had that secret.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm really sad that we're losing you. So I'm sure we'll touch on that later.
And I won't add a lot. I did want to obviously give recognition to our veterans and those who put on the uniform. They're quite often taken for granted, and sometimes I get kind of soapy, and it's those things that they do to allow us to have the control, have the things about our lives that other places only envy. Really means a lot to me. The other is happy birthday. I really appreciate Lucy. She knows these things. She's really good at them. So that's fantastic. A lot more of what I'm going to say is going to be throughout the agenda because we do have an action pack. But I do want to say that Kathy and I are very humbled by just the words and the prayers that people have for our granddaughter. And she's in a fight, but we're very hopeful that she's going to persevere in this fight. And I cannot tell you how much it means when people stop us and just say, "Hey, we're thinking about you." So means the world to us. So thank you, everybody. So with that.
Agenda item 9.9 today, which is my resignation. We've got a good group and a good crowd here today. I don't know how many are going to stick through to the end. I just want to make a couple comments on that. This council has an action item on that later. I learned a lot in my couple of months here in Nassau Bay, not the least of which is if you're a city manager, you're going to resign, time it right after a city councilman's resignation, because then they get all the attention. But in all seriousness, this wasn't planned, and so I just wanted to make it up with that. But I just want to thank publicly the mayor and the council for their understanding and their grace and their professionalism that they've shown me since they learned of this. I really admire your leadership, how much time you spend working on city matters and how much you care for the city. It's been very inspiring. And I want to make sure that the residents know that this isn't stemming from any conflict with us. There's no issues here. It's a great group of people to work with and to work for the last few months. And to the community, again, good crowd here tonight. I just wanted to address a few things. I resigned last week due to some family and personal consideration prompting us to relocate back up north where it's already snowing, unfortunately. And I'm not gonna elaborate much on that, but I do hope you'll understand. So many people, many of you right in this room, welcomed me to this community even before I was moved here. I was hearing from people in the community and I really appreciate that, and it meant a lot to me. So for people who are maybe disappointed or upset, I apologize, and I thank you for the kindness you've shown to me. And just like they represent the city well, you as active residents also represent the city very well, and I appreciate that. And I've talked to our directors and some of our staff members, and they know what I think about them, but I just want to publicly say how much I admire that group over there. I've worked for 4 cities, managed 3, and I manage a county. And so I know a good staff when I see it, and we have an awesome staff here. And I am sorry to leave you all. You do a great job. And so learned a lot from them. I wish you all well, and I'm just gonna leave it there for now. I know we have an item later, but again, I wanted to say some things while the room was pretty full. So appreciate your opportunity, give me the opportunity to do that. And it's okay, Mayor, we can proceed to the staff.
You Bill, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, City Manager. We're gonna miss you. It's only been 2 months, but there's been a connection already, so we're gonna really miss you. Our numbers for October, 252 calls for service, 39 reports, 134 traffic stops, 81 citations, 75 written or verbal warnings. Actually written, because we don't have verbal warnings anymore. 14 arrests, 13 of those were misdemeanors, 1 felony, a total of 3,849 patrol miles, and our response time, average response time was 3 minutes and 16 seconds. On Saturday, October 28th, we had the drug take back out here in front of the City Hall, and we delivered 171.9 pounds of prescription medication to DEA on that day. Not all of that was collected on Saturday. That's over time, including our drop off here. Our new Axon reporting system is installed in the PD interview room on October 31st. It's a significant portion of this recording system. It allows officers from additional rooms to watch the interviews and help with the assistance from closed circuit TV with the officers that are doing the interview. So we're excited to have that. Councilman Waterwall, we do have a package that's coming out in the December Compass Road. So we're on the same thought process there. All right, thank you very much.
Chief, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Can you give us an update on the jail contract?
It's going well.
Do you know when we'll see that?
On the jail contract?
Right, with Pasadena?
I'm not sure which, we're already in the jail contract.
We are.
With Pasadena, we started utilizing, Pasadena jail on October 1st.
October 1st. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a copy of the contract you can share with the council?
Sure, absolutely. I think we had it up here for council. I think we had to get that approved at, September,
We were waiting for Pasadena to approve theirs.
Yeah, they approved it after we did it. It's the same contract. There was no changes to it. But
So there was a component of it that you mentioned in one of the council meetings that it was a gentleman's agreement of who moved people where.
So there's nothing written in that contract.
Right.
That is part of their process. They have, because of the volume of activity that they have in the jail, they have transportation. They transport from their jail to Harris County Jail every shift. We haven't moved anybody from the jail to Harris County since we've been over in Pasadena.
Okay, so they'll be moving, I just want to be clear on this.
They currently are moving up. They're moving
Okay, the reason why I want to be perfectly clear is that we don't want to have anybody who actually gets arrested, put over there, and there's an assumption that either we're taking them and they don't get taken for a period of time.
No, that's part of their process, their procedures. They're taking care of that.
Can we get a copy of that too, so we can see what it all entails? Because the liability behind that, I don't want to see something happen where somebody, one of our arrests actually gets stuck over there for some reason and it comes back and bites us.
Yeah, we'll get their procedures, but they move everybody out of their jail that's going to Harris County, whether it's us or Goose Creek ISD that's utilizing their jail. That's in their procedures, but it's been happening. So if you've noticed on the weekly reports that we via the calls for services, you'll notice that our jail procedure or our prisoner processes, we were at probably 4 or 5 or 6 a month, and you'll probably notice that now we're down to 0 or 1. That's because we're not having to go back to the jail once we vote our prisoners into Pasadena jail. They handle everything over there. So when our officers make a trip to Pasadena jail to, bring somebody to the jail and book them in, we're done. They take care of any bonding paperwork, they take care of any collection of, our local warrants and things, so our officers don't have to go back and process the detainees.
Okay. Let me just talk, because I appreciate you raising, so if it's their process, is there any indication at all that they could not take one of our people with them, or is there a process that they take everything there? Is there any exceptions
They,
that could
no,
take?
if there's an exception, they will contact us and have us come pick them up. There's the procedures, but no, there's, unless there's somebody that has to be transferred to a jail, to one of the hospitals or something, and then they will transfer them to the hospital, and then, I had to look at the contract, I don't remember if we had, I think we had an hour to get one of our officers to the hospital to take over, watch, because they will not sit on them at the hospital for us.
Okay.
Sorry, real quick on that. So we had a situation where we're evading arrest, and that person actually got sick, I think, in the jail. They released him. And have we issued warrants for his arrest?
We've requested the warrants, it'll be issued by the DA's office in Harris County.
Okay, that'll be through us, and then he'll be brought Pasadena.
That gentleman was actually rearrested again on other charges just this past week, and we transferred him ourselves directly to Harris County Jail. So that issue was taken care of.
Okay, fantastic, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, citizens, mayor, council. So your volunteer fire department for the month of October had 1,835 volunteer man hours. We ran 35 calls, and our membership stands at 39.
You're up.
That's it. A little short tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
David, Public Works for last year, last month.
Feels like a year.
We did 30 of 34 street improvement. The project has been going really well this spring, the last couple weeks. Halted some stuff, but Swan Lagoon Playground Park's installed. The David Bronze sidewalk expansion project is all complete to include 200 feet of new 2-inch water line for plants and bushes that we foresee probably get planted in the future. And then along with doing some repairs on 200 feet of line. So we got about 400 feet of new line at David Bronze Park. The lake is complete, along with the new roof and shingles, so we'll get a good years out of that. We only had 3 water main breaks for last month. We were able to jet 260 feet of sewer line. We have a good relationship with the Texas Parks and Wildlife, so they stock Lake Nassau with 1,122 9-inch channel cats. And at the same time, they were unloading that, we were putting a new aerator in the lake. So they're really happy with our lake maintenance. The Howard Ward Small Gazebo construction was completed. We had 40 tons of crushed granite that we put on the Howard Ward walking trail. Did have some get destroyed from a water leak, but we're getting back on it. And then we've issued a partial check for the contractors for the Upper Bay Boardwalk, so I'm just waiting to get a timeline to get that done. The David Bronze Spillway Bridge, all new boards were replaced and some of the substructure also. We had contracted out tree trimming, that was 150 cubic yards, which is about 5 huge roll-off containers, so tons of tree trimming.
And that was only where? You only just.
That was just commercial area wrapped back around Nassau Bay Drive and up.
Yeah,
Point Lookout down.
you've only just begun.
Yeah, so we've got some more to do. We were able to jet 60 feet of storm line in the Sandy Cove area, and we had 5 rain events. So after each rain event, the guys go check out all the inlets, the catch basins. So I think we had 330, so they're all checked. It was make sure they were really good. And so now we are ramping up for the holidays, getting some staff out, spend some time with their family, and get away from me for a while.
Two things is, this is more for the citizens, is when he mentioned 30 or 34, that's actually up, but that was phase 2. You did phase 1 and phase 2 over these past years. So there's actually been, at least 50 that I know of, and I think it's actually a few more than that, of very significant large areas of street replacement that has taken place, and everybody can see it. I don't think there's anybody lives on a street that doesn't drive by and have a significant portion of our streets that have been upgraded by the public works. So it really, really looks good.
And we had, I think, 10 breaks underneath the streets, so I think we had about 10 areas also replaced also.
So that's fan. I lost it, so I'll come back to it later if anybody else has any questions.
Thank you.
Code enforcement.
Yes, sir. Very good. So most of my time is less since